What is going on, Panther Lair? We are talking about the Pittsburgh Panthers' home loss to the NC State Wolfpack, 81-72, this past Saturday afternoon. Now, I have spent some time breaking down a lot of offense recently. You want to dive into some defense with this one, particularly going to highlight some of Pitt's woes defending ball screens, as well as how the Panthers have struggled to hold up at the point of attack and kind of the cascading effects that come after that. So, want to dive into a couple possessions here, but those are going to be the main themes. Let's dive into it. Now, if you watch the game, you know that Pitt had a very much a switching blueprint throughout this game on defense, and it put a couple guys in positions that they are not normally used to. We probably never seen Barry Dunning Jr. have to defend so many ball screens as the ball handler's defender as we did on Saturday afternoon. So kind of put him in a different position than he's accustomed to. There was a lot of guard-to-guard screens, and I think that put the stress on the guards who were defending the screener in those instances. We're going to see that here as well. So first possession here, going to kind of capture those two themes that I led with. You're going to see a high ball screen here involving Dunning Jr. and Cam Corrin. Getting caught on the screens, not navigating the screens right, that put a lot of stress on the defense here. As you essentially see, this is going to have to be a switching situation. And what this is forcing when you're putting this much stress on the defense is that there's going to have to be help. And no, just Indrusitis, not really one of the best defenders on the team by any stretch. He's forced to, kick over here just a little bit more in gap to prevent a completely downhill drive. And just as he starts to cheat back, takes a relatively undisciplined closeout. And because of that, doesn't really establish really good closeout to maybe win the point of attack and just gets blown by and gives up a dunk. So it kind of captures both those things in this week sequence. But we're going to stay here talking about a little bit about how the Pitt defenders got caught on ball screens so often. See, again, instance 2-1. Now, this wasn't too bad, right? Corrin helps initially. Amari Witherspoon eventually gets over, gets back in front. Dunning Jr. tags, and then he's going to get back. But as this flows into another ball screen, here we go with that guard-to-guard screen. And what we're going to find here and what we're going to see is as they go to switch this, Indrusitis is going to lean a little bit harder here to be up the touch as the screener's defender, but in doing so, his balance here is not in a position to defend an immediate downhill drive, and as somebody who is not necessarily the most fleet of foot to begin with, gives up a step, doesn't win the point of attack coming out this ball screen here, doesn't take a great positioning as the screener's defender, and while this is a tough left-handed runner, the point remains that this guy ended up getting a downhill drive. Here we go again. This one a little bit more egregious here in the second half. Witherspoon unable to navigate these off-ball screens. Not great communication. And as a baseline out of bounds, NC State ends up getting an easy layup. Okay, now sticking with ball screen navigation, and this is one of the things I'm going to talk about later, might do a voice overlay on it, is kind of just the ups and downs that Brandon Cummings has over the course of the game. But you're going to see here, defending ball screens, I think he tries to hedge here, but just does not do anything. Dunning Jr. caught on the screen, and what happens is, and you're going to see two of these, is that the ball handler just drives into the vacated space, and the screener's defender is never in a position to actually come off and help here. So this puts a ton of stress on the back line, and you have Corrin who's not trying to pick up fouls, and you have the smallest player on the field, on the floor here in DeMarco Minor. He's not going to be able to do anything. So again, vacated space. Dunning Jr. finally gets over, not in a position to actually do much. And this instance here, just like we saw before, you lose the point attack, not good ball screen navigation. Now you have Minor helping, and in doing so, he's helping off of McNeil, who basically is on the floor to just shoot the ball anyways. And as you can see, 58-58, pretty critical juncture to give up that type of three. A little bit later, NC State, two-possession game, same type of deal. Brandon Cummings, not good navigating the ball screen at all. Dunning Jr. caught up, and now you just have Copeland driving with a wide open lane. Same type of situation. This time, though, is able to get all the way to the basket for the and one. Pretty much puts the game away. Now, this can be holding up at the point of attack, not taking great closeouts. Mark Witherspoon, not great choppy steps here, doesn't hold up. Ball gets put on the floor. Again, that's not an easy shot, but at the same time, you're just giving up dribble penetration against a back line that is not able to actually do much to deter anything at the rim. Same type of thing here. We see Indrusitis and he's just going to get blown by. Here's the cascading effect, though, right? Let's take this back. When you're not a good point of attack team, like when none of your guards are really very good at this, the help defenders have to be in gap like a beat longer, right? You have to be a little bit more off your assignment to be able to provide help. I mean, these were the types of baskets that the Wolfpack were getting as they were coming back into the game after an extremely slow start. It's just, hey, make a help defender have to commit a half a beat here, and I just got to pass the ball to, the one pass away guy, and he'll make a shot. I mean, this is basic basketball more or less, but the threat of getting beat off the dribble, and then you have the smallest possible defender on the floor, and you're just shooting over him. Same type of thing here. Not so great. Ball screen nav, or you're switching. Here we have switch. You have a small defender here in minor, so you're going to have Dunning Jr. just have to help a little bit longer here, stay in this gap, and just, this isn't a terrible closeout, but this is just the reality of when you are not a good point of attack defending team, when your guards tend to be on the smaller side, you're going to have to provide more help. And good, better teams, they're going to find ways to exploit that and just take open shots, right? Semi-contested shots. And that's really what NC State ended up doing here, and ultimately help them come back in this game, build a lead, sustain a lead, and ultimately win the game. So just wanted to give you guys a little bit more defensive stuff here. I'm going to maybe do one more here before I get to probably something on Cummings and probably something on Rowan Cialepa.